Okay, let's do this.
Let's do this. I'm so excited. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for partnering with me and collaborating with me. As you know, we have these deep conversations often. So I'm just so grateful that we get to put it on camera for other women to experience the power exchange between us
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and talk about your book. You see, I got my notes and all
Oh
that.
my God. I love it. I love it.
So, very unique way. Um, you want to tell her, or should I tell it?
You let them know, girl.
Okay. So we met through our therapist. So our amazing therapist, Black woman, we had already been meeting with her individually. Um, I had been meeting with her for a little over a year up until that point. How long were you meeting with her?
About a year. I started seeing her 2023.
Okay. So yes, that was actually around the same time as me too. And our amazing therapist. Okay, side note, do you think I should say her name or not say, is that like a HIPAA situation or,
I don't think it's HIPAA.
okay, I'm a flow. Sorry, let me go back. So we met through our therapist, Monica. She is amazing. And we were meeting with her individually. And Monica felt led to bring these women together to just meet. She felt like we needed to meet each other, and she handpicked us. Like she said, she went through a list of like over 100 of her clients and handpicked us. And we have been in a group therapy room bi-weekly, all Black women, and we have really developed this sisterhood and learned about sisterhood, and we are each other's safe space, and it is the biggest blessing of my life. So that's how we met.
Such a blessing, such a blessing. And I feel like we say it all the time, but it's just such a deep amount of gratitude for the fact that our paths were able to connect, because being able to lay our armor down and just
Yeah.
really have a non-judgmental space where we could be free to feel what we want to feel, think what we want to think, and say what we need to say, and not be condemned for it. It's just such a liberating, beautiful thing. And I am so grateful that Monica put us all together and that
Yes.
God allowed all of our paths to connect, because it has been such a blessing being with you ladies. Like, I just can't say thank you to Monica enough. Shout out to Monica.
We thank her like every session. We constantly give her honor for what she did and how she brought us together. And we've cried together. We have laughed together, cracked jokes together. We have had like breakthroughs together where we have really all at the end of the call, like, we all just kind of in our own little zone, just like, yeah, like, dang, I didn't even think about it like that. We have been extremely transparent with each other. And for me, redefining sisterhood, it has taught me, just like how I said earlier in our session, was like the first day we met each other, it was like, here's everything about my life. Here's everything going on in my heart, in my mind. You know, we didn't have to know each other to know each other.
Correct.
We, you know what I'm saying? Like we just connected. We just went straight and got transparent, and we connected because of that.
Yes, and that doesn't happen often, because I feel like a lot of us are very guarded, and we
Yes.
don't share what we share with everyone. Like, there are things that I have shared with y'all that I don't share with everybody.
Yeah.
So it's like Monica really cultivated such a safe space. Like, the energy doesn't lie. And I
That.
just feel like we felt safe enough, like out the gate, to be able
Yeah.
to share that. Like, I feel like we read the room, and then it was like, all
Hmm.
right, here it is. And then before you know it, it was like we resonated with
Yep.
each other so quickly. Like, oh my God, okay. This,
Yeah.
it's like, it's just a beautiful sister circle that I am so grateful for.
Me too. Me too. So you will be seeing so much more of us. I just want to give that disclaimer to those watching because there are other ladies,
Mhm.
and there is just so much. that we have been developing in these sessions, which we're almost hitting a year, that has been preparing us for everything that we're stepping into now. So very excited about that. I love that icebreaker question. So let's get into it. So let's see. Okay. Hold on. Let me get to my notes. I'm sorry, girl.
Girl, you all the way good. We do this. We are flowing. Okay. Flowing.
Okay. So I want to get into your background a little bit. So in your book, you talked about how you are the eldest daughter and eldest grandchild on both sides of your family.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that, because that's really specific, and I feel like it's some story up in there, or it's something in that. I'm a middle child, so let me know what was that like?
Yeah, man, being the eldest, heavy is the head that wears the crown, is all I can say. Being the eldest, of course, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. And I know for me, my personal journey, I really had a big role in the upbringing of my siblings. And
Mm,
I wasn't doing what your average 16-year-old does. Like your average 16-year-old is with their friends, worried about school, sports, all of that. I was changing diapers. I was
um,
getting up at 12 and 3 in the morning to give my little sister her bottle, change her diaper. Like I would go pick her up and drop her off at daycare before I went to school. Like, I was
wow.
hands on. So I feel
Yeah.
like being the eldest, there's always a responsibility, regardless of gender, that comes with being kind of like that support to your parents. If you have siblings, that support to your siblings. Being the
Mm.
eldest daughter adds a whole other layer to it.
Oh,
And I feel like I had my introduction into motherhood without being like an official mother, because there were so many roles and responsibilities that I played. And so being the eldest, there was a lot of weight that came with that. And so I had to learn, especially as I got into like my 20s, my upper 20s, and my 30s as well, like defining my life for myself and living for myself.
mm,
Because for such a long time, I had lived for my siblings and being the glue and being the go to and prioritizing everyone else's needs over my own. So I
yeah.
feel like I had to learn how to be selfish later on.
Yeah.
You know, so
Wow.
yeah, I can go, girl, we could spend the whole session talking about being the eldest, like, cause
You know what? I asked you because I felt that, like, it was because you didn't dig into it on the first part where I read it, but I'm like, wow, you noted it though, that you were the eldest daughter and eldest granddaughter on both sides. So you don't have an older sibling on either side. You were that oldest sibling. And my sister is the oldest sibling on my mom's side, and she talks about that older sister syndrome. And I'm like, she mentioned it on the phone the other day, and we didn't dig into it, but I'm like, I feel like there's something there, you
there's
know?
a real thing. There is a real thing. I used to daydream about running away and
Wow,
and just
yeah.
starting a whole new life, because as much as I love my family and as much as I
Yeah,
really do hold so much honor for that role, it's heavy. It could be
yeah,
heavy sometimes. It could be heavy
yeah.
sometimes. There's a responsibility. And I think that there was an additional layer for me as well, because yes, I'm the eldest on both sides, and I'm also first generation. With
Yeah.
mom coming here from Puerto Rico, I'm the first one on my mom's side of the family born outside of the island. So I feel like there was a lot of
Mm,
um, ooh, a lot of layers that came with that title. So it's a very unique experience, and navigating through that dynamic, because not only was I learning how to hold space and be a safe space for my siblings, I feel like because my parents had me so young, I feel
yeah.
like we grew up together.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow. That's I love that you said that, because I wanted to talk about that next. How was that growing up? Half Puerto Rican, half black. Your mom's Puerto Rican, your dad is black.
Yeah.
And these are both very beautiful, cultured cultures, you know? How was that for you?
Yeah, I feel like I could walk in many worlds at the same time.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
definitely, I'm grateful for it. I would choose it in every lifetime. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just two beautiful cultures and like blending it and fusing it. I also like, if we're being completely transparent with what it is, I also felt like I didn't necessarily fit in or belong all the time because I
Mm,
felt like there were instances where I wasn't necessarily Latina enough, but I wasn't necessarily Black enough either. You know what I'm saying? But it's
yeah,
just, I feel like that really created like a really strong sense of self within me because I could walk into any room in any environment and I know who I am. And my
yeah,
roots run deep. My roots run
yeah,
deep on both sides, and I'm very proud of it. So I can have my head held high now, but I feel like growing up, it was kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was kind of like that in between space, you know what
yeah.
I'm saying? Where I wasn't okay, well, I wasn't born and raised on the island, you know what I'm saying? So then you have that aspect of it, but I still know the language, the culture, all of those customs. And then you have the other aspect of it too, where it's like, you know what I'm saying? When I also get around my dad's side of the family and stuff like that, they also know, oh, well, she's got a mixture. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm,
it's like, but I'm
mhm.
both. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm both. But I'm also not naive to the fact, like, I know when I walk in the world, like, baby, the first thing you see is my melanin. And
Yeah.
I'm proud of that. Like, I know, and I'm not uncomfortable with it either. When
Mm,
I was getting my driver's license renewed earlier this year, I remember they wanted me to check a box. I always check both boxes. But in this
yeah.
particular instance, she was like, oh, you can only check one box. And I just said out loud, oh, well, then put black because that's the first thing they're going to see.
Yeah.
And I saw her get flustered, like not flustered, but kind of like embarrassed. And she was like, "Oh
Mm.
no, no, I can tell you're Latina." And I'm like, "I didn't mean anything by that. Like that's just, baby, I'm black with a capital B. Like put that down."
Yeah.
But it was like I can tell that sometimes there's like an uncomfortableness with the conversation, but I don't feel
Yeah.
uncomfortable at all because two things can be true at the same time. But it's like, look,
Mhm.
my hair, my skin, my features, like I know that's the first thing the world sees, and that's
Yeah.
okay, you know.
Yeah. When did that tug of war start to subside and you reach that place of like, this is who I am between those two parts of you?
I would say after high school.
Mm.
I would say after high school. I
Yeah.
feel like I just got into a sense of like I don't have to be in a box.
Yeah.
I don't
That
belong in a
makes sense.
box. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of
Yeah.
like, and that's how it felt too, especially because I feel like I have a very unique experience where it's like I know what it's like being in the city. I know what it's like being in the suburbs. So
Uh-huh.
it's also, like I said, I can walk many worlds at the same time. And I feel like I can just, to me, I feel like it adds to my multidimensionality. It really
Yeah.
does. Like, so
Yeah.
I feel like that's why I could flow well in any room. You know, I can be in an upscale area and be comfortable, and I could be kicking it in the hood, and I'm just as comfortable.
I
So it's
love
just,
that.
yeah, that's what comes with it. I think it's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing because you have exposure. You have
Yes.
exposure to different things, and it's, you know, it's a beautiful thing. So,
Yeah.
love
And I
it.
love to hear your pride in it because I think the lack of pride probably can cause you not to be multidimensional. You know, you feel like you got to just be in one area, you know. I remember we were on one of our therapy sessions and you were like, "Yeah, I'm still in Puerto Rico, you know, at your grandma's house." And it was like,
Yes.
"Wow, that is so cool. I love that." And so you were the only one on your mom's side of the family who was not born in Puerto Rico.
The first one.
Oh, the first one.
The first
Okay.
one, because like a lot of like my siblings and like this next generation of cousins
Yeah.
were born here. But like
Okay.
it was I'm the first one on my mom's side of the family that was born outside the island. It's called
Okay.
we say on the island, allá afuera, like
I
out
was
there.
going to ask you, I highlighted that in the book. I'm like, I'm so curious. What does this mean?
Yeah, that is a Puerto Rican colloquialism because we love our island so much that everything outside of it is allá afuera,
For
out
real? Wow.
there.
I love that.
Yeah, so I was the
Wow.
first one on my mom's side of the family born allá afuera, outside of the island. So that's where that first generation dynamic comes in as well.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
where were you born outside in the US? Where were you born
Yes.
and
So I
raised?
was born in Elgin, Illinois. It's a suburb about 45 minutes away from Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you go to Puerto Rico often when you
Yeah.
were younger?
I did. I did. And I'm very grateful for it. I talk to my grandparents about it often because they would send me summers to go be with my family, to go be with my cousins, my great grandma, my aunt. Like, and in that season, I just wanted to be with my friends. You know what I mean? I was like,
Yeah.
oh, well, I just want to hang out with my friends. And I would feel salty because I would miss like a lot of fun summer activities because I would be
Yeah.
Puerto Rico. But as I got
Yeah.
older, I'm so appreciative for that time
Yeah.
because now I'm like, oh my God, I got to spend summers here. And it's just something I'm very grateful for. And now as an adult, like, it's very important for me to go back as much as I can, because
Yeah.
that feels like home to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love that. I
Mm,
love it.
yes, queen.
Okay. So let's see. What was the light bulb moment? So we're going to go through your amazing book, Golden Petals.
Thank
What
you.
was the light bulb moment that led you to start writing this book? That made you say, I need to write a book.
Oh, girl, that is such a good question. I wouldn't say it was a light bulb moment. It was like
Okay.
an accumulation of like God really worked it out in such a way, like it was happening before I realized that it was happening.
Mm,
So ever since I was little, I've loved poetry. Like I think the first poem I wrote, I was 8 years old.
wow.
I had like a little journal that I would write my poems in. So I've been writing poetry for a long time. That's just how I would express myself. It's how I would make sense of the world within me and the world around me. So when I started going on my healing journey, I just started writing like for it to make sense to myself. Like I would get
Mhm.
spiritual downloads and things that God was like putting on my heart to make sense to me. And I would just write it down. I would write it down because that was part of me processing, you know?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that, it was kind of like journaling, but a little bit more detailed than journaling. So I would write, I would write, I would write. And then I started doing Golden Petals, the podcast in 2019. And I would
Hmm.
write little notes. And before I knew it, I was like, oh, this could all be a book.
Yeah.
And so then that when I had that realization,
Yeah.
that was when I started being more intentional about carefully curating everything and putting it together to be what it is now.
I love that. I love that you said too that it was a culmination of things because there are light bulb moments, but, and this is something I'm learning too, everything is not to the extreme. You know what I mean? Like sometimes we're looking for that big shooting star to fly through the sky or just like one big moment to tell us what to do.
Yeah.
When sometimes it's you just got to sit and process and go back and look at, the steps that have led to what you feel. It's usually a lot of different moments communicating the same thing to you and preparing you. So I
Yeah.
love that.
Perfect, girl. Yes, and I think it's a very funny thing to see how God put it all together because when it became clear to me, like, oh, I have enough for a book, that's when I was like, oh, okay, now I'm working on my book. And then
Yeah.
taking that intention to put it all together for it to be what it is.
Okay, let's talk about roadblocks. Before we dig into the chapters, we're going to dig into the first four chapters of the book, but roadblocks
Yeah.
that you faced, and it can be spiritual roadblocks, mental roadblocks, emotional, any kind of roadblocks. Did you face roadblocks while producing this book?
Oh, absolutely. I definitely did. And I would say the roadblocks were really lifing,
Mm-hmm.
dealing with things in my family, dealing with things, you know what I'm saying, that I was just going through at the time. It was a lot for me because I felt like I was wearing multiple hats at the same time.
Yeah.
And I hadn't learned yet boundaries.
Mm.
So I felt pulled in all of these different directions.
Yep.
And so when I really put a halt to like the former people pleasing behavior and I learned to prioritize myself and focus on myself, and when I started choosing myself, I was able to pour more into my focus. But I do think there was some spiritual warfare, a lot of spiritual warfare. I feel like that I was dealing with just because my attention was pulled in so many different directions, whether it was
Yeah.
family or a relationship or whether it was work. Because like you said, working a 9 to 5,
Yep.
being a working professional, and it was just all of these hats that I was
Yeah.
wearing. And I felt there was a season where, if I'm being transparent, I felt very
Mm-hmm.
burnt out. I
Mm-hmm.
felt very overwhelmed and I felt very depressed.
Mm.
And I couldn't produce when I was in that space, but I was still writing because that was my outlet, you know?
Yeah.
And so it was so interesting to me because it was very clear to me that Golden Petals was going to one day be a book. And I saw
Yep.
the vision clear as day. Like
Yes.
what I'm experiencing and living now, I saw it then.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember being like, okay, God, I don't know why I just can't make it happen because I feel like I'm encountering so much resistance.
Yep.
And now, because they say hindsight is 2020, but now I can see why God allowed those delays to happen. And I'm very grateful that I didn't allow the delay to discourage me to continue to progress forward.
Yeah.
Because when I had turned in my manuscript for Golden Petals, I was reading over everything. And when I was reading over everything once over, I was like, if I had did my book in the season
Mm.
where I was asking God, why can't it happen right now? There was a good chunk of my book that would not have happened
Yeah.
because I included so much of that journey in there. And there are a lot of things that I learned in those seasons that I was able to write about in the book as well. And I just remember having like that reaffirmation when I was turning in the manuscript, like God wasn't done with my story.
Yes.
God wasn't done with my story. So that's why it didn't happen when I received that vision and that nudge, like, okay, you're going to be writing a book. When I was ready to be writing a book and when I knew that that's what I was doing, that doesn't necessarily mean that that was the season for me to release it, even
Yep.
though it's clear in my mind that that's what I wanted to do and that's what I would one day do. But
Yeah.
God wasn't done with my story and God wasn't done showing me what I needed to see so that way I could produce the fruit that He had placed in my heart.
That's so good. And I want to talk about that part about when you can see it, there's a misconception, and I think it's not necessarily a misconception. I think it's a sign that you are in the early stages of your gift, that you
Mhm.
just may need to mature in that gift. When you see it, you may think it's time to do it. And that's something I struggle with too. Like, God, you making it so clear. You giving me the vision. You giving me ideas. You giving me prophecy. Like, there's so much here that I'm so full of the vision. It's just like, I got to do it right now. Of course you want me to do it right now. And time, that doesn't mean timing is a totally different category that you got to go into. That's different than vision. So yes, just the struggle and the frustration of that. So any woman watching this, like, you are not alone. It is a battle to discern and know when it's time to produce and when it's time to just receive what God has given you and write it down, or let it just marinate in your heart sometimes and in your mind, you know?
Absolutely. Oh, that is so good, Ashley. I love that because it's a process.
It's a what was that timeline like? That timeline of receiving the information about the book, the vision of the book. How many years was it, or months, or?
It was a while. I'm not gonna lie. I would say 5, 6 years.
Mm,
It took a while.
yeah,
It took a while, but and I mentioned it in the book too. There was this mantra that I kept reminding myself, and it was the day that you plant the seed is not the same day that you will bear the fruit.
that's so good. That I'm gonna start saying that to myself too, because you have to remind myself yourself, even if you know that on Monday, on Thursday, you may feel different. You may forget.
Yeah,
It is truly a lesson of patience on a whole nother level.
yeah, absolutely.
On a whole nother level.
It's a whole other level and it'll test you.
Yes.
It'll
Yes.
test and it's easy to get discouraged because I battled that. I battled that where I was like, dang God, how long is this going to take? And there were moments where I was filled with doubt. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, what if it doesn't happen for me? What if I'm
Hmm.
not able to do it? And in those moments, I just really had to pick myself up and be like, well, I'm just going to keep writing and I'm
Yeah.
just going to see what God does. And it really is a beautiful thing surrendering to the
Hmm.
process because we have things in mind of a way that we may want it to go, but God may see it completely different. And so
Yeah.
when we allow ourselves and give ourselves permission to surrender to the process, we also open ourselves up to the miracles that God has for us.
Hmm. Did you experience any creative blocks or writer's blocks
Oh, of
during
course.
your waiting season? And what was that
Yeah.
like? How did you get out of it?
Well, that's a good question. So I did experience writer's block.
Hmm.
Um, and things that helped me get out of it, it may sound silly, but I gave myself permission to just have fun. Like,
Yes.
yes, I noticed a lot of time when I was reaching a creative block,
Yep.
I needed to do something fun because a lot of times, like, okay, kids, for example, kids have the best imagination in the world.
Yeah.
And I think as we get older, sometimes just because the way the world is set up, we kind of little by little, we lose that imagination and creativeness and just that simple joy.
Yeah.
So when I reconnected like with things that would bring me joy or reconnecting with my inner child, it opened up for me to be
Yep.
creative again. Whether it was something as simple as, all right, I'm gonna color, you know, or I'm gonna dance, or I'm gonna go for a walk. And sometimes I gave myself permission to be in a blocked space. I would be like, I ain't got it. And so if I didn't have it, I would just, all right, well, I'm a rest. All right, well, life is going to go on. And when it comes to me, it'll come to me. I allowed the space to be, and I didn't force anything. I didn't
Mm.
force it to come. I allowed it to come when it was meant to. And I just made sure that I was a vessel to be able to receive what it was that I was trying to create or whatever messages that God wanted me to include in my writing.
Yes. I love that. And I talk about this often because, like I'm a writer as well. And I started off in Hollywood. And I realized like creativity is not supposed to be like an assembly line, like transactional. Step one, two, three, four, done. One, two, three, four, it's done. When you get in that mode as a creative, you're losing it. You're losing your touch. You can still churn out quality stuff, but that anointing ain't on there. That power ain't on there, and that flow is something is missing because it's supposed to be effortless. So I love that kid analogy you gave where it's like, I don't have to think about it. You just feel it, do it, it comes out. My niece Charlie, she's so creative, and I remember she's really great at storytelling, and I was like, you're gonna help me write a script one day, let's create a story together. And
Mm-hmm.
she said a part of the story, and then I was like, okay, and then what's gonna happen, and then what's gonna, like, I was like forcing it. She was like, I don't know, I didn't I'm not thinking about it that much. So like she just went on to the next subject so easily. And it's like that's when your best stuff comes out, when you just don't have to think about it too much. It just flows.
Just flow.
You're just creative and fun and light. It's fun. It's not work. It's fun.
It's fun. It's fun. We can learn so much from kids. Like, I don't think
You
kids
can.
get the credit that they deserve, because I know as adults we're supposed to be teaching these babies, but a lot of times these
Right.
babies end up teaching us. Because it's the simple.
Facts.
She was like, I don't know, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like,
And
she
that
could.
was a complete sentence. I don't know. I didn't think about
I don't
that.
know.
Mm,
That was
okay,
it. And
you're
she
right.
next thing she was
Yeah.
all
Like,
chart.
leave it alone. Okay, let's dig into these chapters, girl. Okay. The first one is my favorite one. Okay.
Uh,
Energy.
energy.
Energy. Okay,
Mhm.
wait, I'm sorry. Before we go there, we have to acknowledge your relationship with God, because spirituality is interwoven between this whole book.
Yeah.
So, what does that mean to you? How did you establish that in your life?
Ooh, I think it just is.
Mm,
It just is. I'm a spiritual woman, so this is a spiritual book.
yep.
And energy, it's just a part of who we are. Energy is an extension of ourselves and the world that we experience and the lens that we see it through. And so when I talked about energy, it was really from a standpoint, I tried to explain it as best as I could in a way that if someone really wasn't ever into the topic, they would be able to read it and follow.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
did want to simplify it as much as possible. And it is simple,
It
and
is.
it's just it's a vibe, and that's why I said there's so many names for it. Some people are like vibes, some people are like spirits, but either way, it's that essence
Yep.
of something.
Yep.
And there are different levels of energy, and there are different energies that we can resonate with, or energies that we don't resonate with. And so
Uh-huh.
just learning how to navigate through those different energies and identify what those energies are.
Okay, let me read, because this is adding to what you're saying. Let me read a small little excerpt you put here. You said energies. Some know it as vibes, some know it as spirits. Regardless of the name, energy is something that is felt rather than seen. And you give this analogy like you walk into a room and you just feel something like, what? I think everybody has that, but not everybody is able to discern what it is, or maybe ask themselves, what was that? So, do you find yourself doing that often, picking up on things and like, what was that? And what's your process?
Yes, I definitely do. I'm very spiritually inclined, and
Mm-hmm.
God has given me spiritual gifts. And so I pick up on energy very easy.
Yep.
I say this all the time. I understand energy better than I understand words.
That's so good. Yes, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I feel like because I'm energetically sensitive, I can pick up on things. So I have had to strengthen my discernment throughout the years. And I think a hard lesson I have had to learn is to trust my intuition. Because I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of times I would try to like dismiss my own intuition, because I would get a nudge. I would be like, something's not right with that. But then I would
Yeah.
try to give the benefit of the doubt. I would try to explain away. And then it just got to a point where I saw so many things play out time and time again that my gut was
Mm-hmm.
right about. I had to apologize to myself. And I said, I am never going to doubt or downplay my intuition again, because
Yes.
if it doesn't make sense right away, it somehow ends up playing down the line to be what I anticipated. So I'm just going to honor my gut, and
Yes.
listen to what it is that I'm picking up on.
That's so good. I'm the same way.
Hmm.
I did not know it was a gift, you know what I mean? And until like more practice. And as I just grew more knowledgeable of the topic and of myself and what discernment is, but I learned I learned the hard way a lot. Like you said, I learned the hard way. And I learned like this is when you open yourself up to this, to discernment, it's a whole nother communication system, you know? And I feel you when you said you understand energy more than words, because sometimes you do not have words for it immediately. And I want women listening to this to understand that. Don't get caught up in trying to understand it with your brain. Sometimes it's either yes or no. This is safe. This is not safe. Sometimes it's just that, and that's all you need to know for that moment, you know?
Right.
And I've had that where just even within this year, I've had moments where I've picked up on stuff and even start walking in it. I start talking in it, in this spirit, this energy that I'm picking up that isn't even mine. So I also want to say it can trip you up. And when you are in certain energies, you could start walking in that and it ain't even you. And if
Yeah.
you're not mature enough or aware enough, you will take on something as you and it's not you at all.
I will run around this room actually.
It ain't no joke,
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah. And you got to release it. And I had to learn spiritual and energetic hygiene. I really did.
Ooh.
Yes,
Break it
Queen.
down, break it down, break it down.
Because it's just what you said right there. Because sometimes we will pick up on things that are not ours to
Yep.
carry. And then
Yep.
sometimes it's like we'll be carrying something around. And I'm so, so, so grateful for my abuela because she taught me that she's spiritually in tune too. And she would say a lot of times when she picks up on energy that's not hers, like let's say she's with her friends and they're all having fun together, then she gets home and it's like there's just this feeling that she can't shake off. She told me sometimes you have to tell yourself, I release what is not mine.
Yes.
This
Yes.
does not belong to me.
Yep.
So, with that spiritual and energetic hygiene, the same way that every single day we want to make sure we take a shower, we brush our teeth, that we clean, moisturize, all of that, energetically and spiritually, we need to take care of ourselves too. And we need
Yeah.
to protect ourselves and where we go. And prayer
Yeah.
is our greatest weapon. And that's why
Yep.
it's so underrated. Like sometimes we got to pray when we're just leaving the house to go outside and walk around or go to the
Facts.
store and, all right, God, please be with me, cover me. And, just asking for that spiritual protection and provision. And sometimes when we leave a place where there are a lot of people, just make
Yeah.
sure that we shake off any energy that we could have picked up while we were there. That way,
Yes.
take on and carry things that aren't ours. Because sometimes we could be feeling a weight that's not ours to carry.
It's not ours. That is so, I love that you said that too, because I used to think this was for the grannies. My great grandmother used to have blessing oil with her everywhere.
Oh, she.
Girl, I have blessing oil in every room of my house, on the side of my bed, in my purse. And it's not just the oil, it's the belief and it's the prayer behind it. Like, Lord, cover me in the name of Jesus. Like, I plead the blood of Jesus over me, because you can pick up stuff. And I've
Yeah.
learned how to anoint my home, how to I can feel when something is off in my house. I could feel it. And hey, you got to get up out of here. We ain't holding that up in here, So it is very, very, very real.
Yeah.
And I want women to really understand that, because I do believe as women, we are carriers and we
Yes.
carry a lot. And some of that stuff we carrying is not ours.
Yeah.
And just a reminder, you won't be able to fully discern it right away. Like in the Bible, it talks about like how you can understand in part and not in full. So sometimes we can understand something in part. And I've had those moments where, I feel something and I understand it in part, but let me keep praying on it. And maybe a month later, God will tell me that what you picked up on was from that person. And that's why that's why I separated you from that. That was actually that person's friend, that person's mama. You know what I mean? Like, they're carrying like, being able to discern things spiritually is a superpower. So I strongly encourage every woman, stay prayed up, and you
Yeah.
will understand what's going on around you. You will understand.
You will understand. And sometimes looking at things not with our physical eyes, but with our
Yep.
spiritual eyes.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
there are things going on in the spiritual realm that we cannot see. So you never know what you're coming up against. You can be having a conversation with an angel in the flesh, and you could very well also be having a conversation with a demon in the flesh.
Period. This ain't we ain't on no weird stuff right now. This is
No,
facts.
it's facts.
Facts.
It's facts. So that's why it's just important to have that discernment. And I feel like as women, we're not necessarily taught all the time how to honor our intuition or the gifts that God has given us, because we are a channel, and
Yeah.
when we pick up on things, that is real, and our body is responding for a reason. That's why you go some places and you get that feeling in the pit of your stomach like, oh, I shouldn't be here. When you get that go, don't question it. You never
Yeah.
know. You never know.
Have you had moments where where you were in a place where you were not aware of this and your body was shutting down on you? Talk about it, because I know there's so many women who have gone through this or are going through this.
Oh, I've had it happen to me a few times.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand it in the moment, but I understood it after. And I think through time, that's when I was kind of able to develop. So now, like on the first rip, if I pick up on it, I'll do it. I would say it first happened the first time that it was like severe enough for me to be like, oh, I gotta pay attention. I was 16, 17. I rarely went out because once again, I was taking care of my siblings. So I
Hmm.
rarely went out, but there was one particular time, the one time I did go out. No, I'm just playing. But like, but I did go with some of my friends to a party. And so we were at the party, we're having fun, and then all of a sudden, like I got like this feeling like I need to go. I want to go home. And I'm so grateful for my friends because they got the same feeling.
Mm.
They were like, y'all, we gotta go. And we were having fun. We were having a good time, but all of a sudden out of nowhere, like it was at the same time, the three of us were like, we gotta go. And I'm so grateful that we listened to that. At 17 years old, we didn't question it. We were like, okay, let's go. And we left. Less than 30 minutes later, we were getting phone calls. The party got shot up.
Wow. Jesus. Girl, that's the power of, not only do you need to be discerning, because could you imagine if it went enough, girl, you doing too much. Ain't nothing gonna happen. We need to stay. We just got here. I'm trying to see John. Da, 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 da. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's why it's also important to be careful of your circle. Because
Yes.
I feel like had I been with people who are like, no, I just need 15 minutes. Let me say bye. Da, 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 we would have been caught up. But I'm
Yeah.
so grateful because it was like I had that feeling. It was like a nagging, like, girl, you gotta go. And then like
Mm.
it was all like clockwork. It was like bing, 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 like the three of us all,
Mm.
and we were like, let's go. And there was no question. We dipped. We left. And less than 30 minutes later, our phones started blowing up.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like it's scary, but it's not. It's like, thank you, God. You know what I mean? Like that's why it's so important, and a major thing of the heart cleanse is for women to return to themselves. And that's why I love that you even have that in your book as well. Like when you return to yourself as a woman, you know the gifts that are just natural. Every woman has it. No woman is just more gifted than this is just part of being a woman. This is how we are created. And everybody has discernment, but I'm specifically talking about women, that feeling like you have to listen to it. It could literally save your life or save somebody else's life.
Yeah, it could literally save your life. Like your life literally depends on it. And I just feel like God gave us the gift of intuition for a reason. And so it's very
Yes.
important to honor that. And our
Yep.
bodies will communicate with us, whether it's in an environment like that where it's a party, or how many times have we heard stories of women who had a biological response to being with a partner
Yes.
who wasn't for them.
Ooh. Ooh.
Talk to us.
A biological that is facts. I know that for my, especially if you with a narcissist, and we have had many conversations about this. Your mind may be so twisted up that your mind may not be communicating it to
But your
you,
body
but
is
your
like,
body for sure is.
yeah, inflammation,
Yep.
puffiness,
Yep.
cortisol constantly breaking out. whatever the case may be, like your body will talk to you. And I think sometimes we don't quite understand what it's trying to say, but then
Yeah.
looking back, it's like, oh, my body was screaming at me.
Yes.
To learn to listen. We have to learn to listen. We have to learn to listen to our bodies. We have to learn to listen to our intuition. And I think the better that we learn to listen to ourselves, the better we can listen to God and vice versa, because it's
Yep.
all connected.
It's all one. Returning to yourself is returning to God. Period. So there is no separation with that. And that, like, when my body was speaking to me, I had broke out with so many fibroids. I had gut problems. I was constantly bloated, low self-esteem. Like, the way I talked about myself was really terrible. And it wasn't like I was constantly heavy and oof, it's a nightmare. So I'm so grateful we're on the other side of this, though, of really learning this. But you got to go through the fire to really even know what we're talking about right now.
Definitely. And we just gonna thank God that we made it to the other
Period.
side.
Yes, Lord. Okay. Speaking of that, let's go to chapter 2, and it's growth.
Yeah.
Growth. I'm going to read a small section here. It says, every phase, stage, and chapter in our lives offers experiences and knowledge that gives us growth, whether we asked for it or not. Emphasis on asked for it or not. Would you say most of the growth that you experienced in your journey of returning back to yourself as a woman was something you asked for? Or did
That
it just
was involuntary.
yes. Period. No, that's fact.
No, but I mean, hey, we're here and we made it.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
definitely, it's kind of one of those things, like when you pray to God for patience and then God sends you some real tough lessons to grow your patience. It
Yep.
could be like that, but I would just say for me, a lot of my growth came from unexpected circumstances that were
Mm-hmm.
beyond my control, like a lot of hard lessons that I had to learn that I didn't necessarily ask for, but I showed up to the challenge with an open heart and an open mind and just tried to elevate my way through.
Yeah. That's so good. I can agree with that. Like, I feel like the key is resiliency because things are going to come at you. And sometimes when you're growing the most, a lot of things are going to happen to you.
Yeah.
And you can feel like, why is all this stuff happening to me? Especially if you're building something,
Oh,
especially if you're producing something. Girl, the heart cleanse, it has been a roller coaster, a cross country road trip, car accidents. I mean, it has been everything under the sun of things happening to me. And I'm
yeah.
like, what the heck? But that was growth. I grew every single time, every time. So I found that, like, resiliency, pick yourself back up, ask for help, go get a therapist, do whatever you got to do, but keep going, keep
Yeah.
going.
Keep going. Keep going. And I'm just so proud of you because I know you battled a lot of resistance.
Yes.
And you being the spiritual gangster that you are, you pushed
No.
through, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
But look at that. And I think a lot of times that's when we're the most susceptible to spiritual attacks, is when we are
Mm.
producing something that is very powerful and the enemy is intimidated by that. So
Yes.
he's gonna go ahead and put all of these things in our obstacle to try to knock it down. But the
Yep.
God that we love and the God that loves us and the God that we serve can take
Yep.
what was meant for evil and turn it to
It's a
work for
good.
our good.
Yep. That's facts. And especially if you're not being self-serving. When you're
Correct.
so selfish and you're building something that's just centered around you and you're just being conceited, where I've been that way. I was that way in Hollywood. It was about, it was for other people, but it was really about me. You know what I mean? My goals, my dreams, my passions, my desires. And that's a different path. But when you are building something that is sacrificial in a way. You know what I mean? It's like I'm taking, just like this book. This took a lot of pain, tears, torment, all of the things. This was not just ambition that made this book be in my hands right now. You know what I mean? It was you going through some things and making it through. That's now blessing me and the people who are going to be reading it and watching it. So when you're not so self-serving, you are going to have that opposition, but God is going to back you like never before. Like never before.
Yep. Every time. Every time.
I want to also note what you said here. You said what you experience can be a part of who you are, but it does not need to be your identity. How many times do we take what has happened to us, what we've gone through, and made it who we are?
Oh, so many times. So many times. Because I think, especially when you are on the receiving end of someone causing harm to you,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
kind of can't help but internalize it. And
Yeah.
I know I have had to learn to release that because for a long time, it made me question myself. And I
Yeah.
was like, dang, like, am I not good enough? Like, why did that happen to me? Did I do something wrong? What could I have done differently? And also just, that's how a lot of these hardships are set up. They are set up to make you discount yourself. But the way
Yeah.
God is set up is God is like, that happened to you, but that's not who you are or
Yep.
all that you have to be. So learning to reestablish that identity and be like, you know what? This trauma did happen to me and it was very real, but I don't have to stay here. And
Yeah.
it's not, it's a part of my story, but it's not my story.
Yeah.
It's who I am, but it's not my identity.
Yeah. That's so good. And a lot of what you wrote about is rooted, the theme is overcoming.
Mhm.
So a lot of what we do go through is about the overcoming. So there's many different stories we can tell, but the part that is you is the overcoming story, the overcomer, the overcome. That is you, like, oh, I went through that, but I'm still here. I went through that, but I'm stronger. I went through that, but I was able to get out of that debt though. I was able to get out of that relationship though. I was able to walk away, that's who you are,
Mhm.
not what happened to you. And we too often forget that. We really
Yeah,
do.
we do. And I think it's easy to at times because the impact of those things is so
Yeah.
real. Because
Yeah.
it's not just getting through it. PTSD is a very real thing. So it's also like the residual effects of that situation. And
Yep.
so learning to, okay, I'm still shaking it off and that's okay, but that's not all that God has for me. And we don't
Yeah.
have to remain stuck. And
Yeah.
that's the beauty of overcoming because on the other side of the trauma is that deliverance. On the other side of the trauma is the triumph. And on the other side
Yep.
of the test is the testimony.
Yep. And that's where you can understand who you are on that side. So
Yeah.
sometimes you just got to wait. Your
Yeah.
story's not that, just wait,
Yeah.
wait, wait. This is
Yeah.
so good. Let's keep flowing.
Come on, Queen.
Ooh, this is my favorite chapter. The divinity within.
Mhm.
Okay. I love how every time we talk, God's presence is interwoven between every topic. So it ain't no like everything is about God. Yes, it is because it's interwoven in who we are. It is just literally a part of who we are.
Yeah.
So you said the divinity within is the connection with your higher self and the Most High. What does that mean to you?
What that means to me is each and every one of us, we have an internal reservoir. Whether people tap into it or not, it's there. And that is the part of ourselves that is always connected to God.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the
Mm-hmm.
part of ourselves that gives us that gentle nudge in the
Yeah.
quiet and dark spaces to continue.
Yeah.
And part of like our higher selves because I think we all are constantly evolving and growing and duality is real. That's part of our humanity. our
Yep.
duality. Everyone has light, everyone has shadows, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's something to learn from, embody, and work through. And our higher self is the version of ourselves. Like, I love meditation, and when I meditate, I feel like when I'm in a really good meditation, I make it to a point where it's like it's a part of me that's not touched by the trauma I've endured.
Oh,
And that to
yeah.
me is my higher self because it's the part of me that's beyond this body.
Yes. Yes. Oh, that's so good. It's that eternal part of you that, and God is eternal. It's that love, the unconditional, pure
Mhm.
love that is not riddled with the things that have happened to you, that is not riddled with anything dark. It's
Mhm.
light. It is
Yeah,
just light.
yeah,
And when
yes.
you, God helps you see and feel and know the light in you,
Hmm.
or you won't know. You won't know. That's a scary thought to me, to
Yeah,
not know your light.
I agree. I agree. I agree. And I think that part of the journey is reconnecting with that aspect of ourselves. Because I feel like we've all encountered seasons where we do feel a bit disconnected from ourselves and going
Yes.
through that journey of reconnecting with ourselves. That is the beauty of the journey because no matter how much you may stray, you can always find a place to come back home to within yourself. And I
Yeah.
think that when you can get back to that light within you, especially after being in a period of darkness, it is a very powerful thing because it's like you're reclaiming your life, you reclaim your
Hmm.
light, you reclaiming what God has rightfully given to you.
That's so good. How do you know when you're straying? What are some signs?
I think it's different for every person. For me personally, I can tell that I'm straying if I feel imbalanced.
Hmm.
If I feel
Hmm.
imbalanced, if I feel like things that usually wouldn't shake me up.
That's good. I can say the same when I'm like anxiety, worry, stress, kind of like in your chapter of energy where you talked about the low frequency, and low frequency is anger, worry, stress, like these low, very daunting thoughts and feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I'm strained because God is a God of peace. God is a God of love. It doesn't mean everything is perfect. You could still be going through a lot, but
Right.
you start losing yourself and you start losing a grip on your life,
Yeah.
essentially,
Yeah.
which is scary, especially
It,
as women, because then we start to outsource. We start to depend on other people to be that grip for us.
yeah.
And they can they don't ever necessarily have to be bad people. They just may be leading us in a direction that we are not even meant to go.
Correct. And that's exactly what it is. And I think that's why it's important to just have that awareness because I think it can open the door up for us to go into cycles that we weren't necessarily meant to go into.
Mm,
It's a very scary place when you do feel disconnected from yourself. Like when I was telling you earlier about that really difficult season I was in where I felt burnt out and I felt
yeah.
overwhelmed and I felt depressed. I knew that I was disconnected in that season because, and it was a scary place for me because it was very prolonged. I felt like I lost my my light for life. Like I
Mm,
lost that light feeling, and I just
yeah.
remember crying and praying to God, like God, am I ever gonna feel happy again? Because I felt
Yeah.
like it had been so long since I had felt happy. It had been so long since I was excited for life. It had been so long. Like I went through so many trials and tribulations back to back to back to back, and I was depleted. I felt defeated. I didn't feel
Yep.
like I had anything, and it was just very scary because I consider myself to be a positive person. So
Yeah.
when I lost like that sense of light that I know is mine, like, and I stopped feeling excited for life, I knew I wasn't in a good space. And
Mm,
so it was very scary because I was like, God, I don't know how I'm gonna get out of here. And I couldn't see it.
yeah.
And I'm so grateful for God because it was like that was the season where I anchored in my faith the most because I was just like, I don't like the way I feel. I don't like the way things are looking around me. I'm in the lion's den and God, I need
Mhm.
you. with me. And so when God brought me back home to myself, and little by little, I started feeling like myself again, and I got my energy back. I got my glow back. I got my life back. I got my light back. When I
Yep.
started getting excited for life again, I just felt so grateful to God, because there was a season where I questioned if I would ever be taken care of again, if I would ever feel happy
Mm,
again, if I would ever feel good again. So when God restored that into my life, it was an even deeper level of gratitude, because
yeah.
when in the depths, and anyone who's been in that space can attest to how hard it is to get up out of there. So I'm just very grateful that God was my lighthouse in a very dark
Yes.
place, and that God not only got me through it, but restored everything that I lost tenfold.
Amen. I'm thinking about a woman who may be watching this and she's in that season right now. She's in that, and we were talking about this earlier too, where you're just sad, like, and being okay with just acknowledging, like, I am sad because you had so many blows after blow. You were just in a saddened place.
Yeah.
If you can name three ways you grew from from holding on to God, God getting you out of that, and you getting on the other side. What are three ways you grew after getting out of that dark season?
Oh, it's more than three, but I'm gonna name my top three.
Okay. Yeah.
Three ways that I grew after being in that was it was a dark season, it was a hard season, and a very vulnerable one. I would say one way that I grew was I grew into a very different version of myself. I have a level of confidence that I did not have before, because I know that I know that I know that I'm God's child, and that God,
Mm,
and I know who I am. I know who I am as a person. I know who I am as a woman. I know who I am as a child of God. So there is a certain level of confidence I have in the fullness of who I am. And I'm not intimidated by my power anymore. I'm not intimidated by the best parts of me. And I'm not scared of the worst parts of me either. And I'm not ashamed of it. So just having that confidence in the fullness of who I am is a way that I grew from that season.
yeah.
Another way that I grew in that season was having such a beautiful connection with God, because God is my ride or die, my rock, my fortress, my father, my friend, my shield, my refuge, my everything. Like,
Yes.
just to be able to talk, like, I shared the most vulnerable parts of myself with God, and just to see how God showed up and showed out in my life, it was amazing, because I know in the midst of that season, I reached my breaking point. It was
Yeah.
terrible. It was terrible. And I just remember I broke down. And I know we're not supposed to question God, but I was questioning God. And if I'm being honest with you, there was a point where I was angry with God. And I
Mm-hmm.
just remember I was in the midst of a breakdown, and I'm yelling, and I'm like, God, I can't take this anymore. Like, I was like, I can't do it. I was like, God, I can't do it. And I just remember I was in so much pain. Like, I was asking God to take me. I was like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Take me, God. I can't do it. Take me. And
Been
to
there.
see how God reached down into that space I was in, and God started opening doors. And He was like, I got you. And then it was like to see the way that God showed up and showed out and was like, I'm with you. Because
Yep.
there were certain situations that should not have played out the way that they did, but God.
But God.
God, but
Yeah.
God, but God. So to see the way that God walked with me in the hardest season of my life, and to see the way God had my back,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, can't nobody tell me God isn't real.
Right. You locked in after that. After them, you are locked in.
And it's at a different level, because I've always considered myself to be close to God, because even when I
Yeah.
was little, I had a connection with God. But this was a whole other level, because I'm talking about God gave me Amazon Prime next day shipping and
Yes.
service. I'm like, we just talked about that. I just got off the phone with you. And okay,
Yeah.
So having that deeper understanding and love and respect for God, and knowing that God really does love me, and that feeling God's unconditional love, witnessing God's unconditional love, and experiencing his unconditional love. That was something that I walked away with. And the third thing that I would say that I walked away with that helped me grow is just appreciating the love that does exist in life.
Ooh, that's so good.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think I learned, like, I don't have to have a partner to experience love,
Yes.
because I can see love show up in different ways, whether it's with my family, whether it's with my friends, whether it's with our sacred sister circle, whether
Yeah.
it's when I'm looking in the mirror. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
just to experience love in all of the ways that God designed it, beyond just one dimension of partnership, and allowing
Yes.
God to show the way that he created this whole universe from love, with
Yep.
love, and we're an extension of it.
Yes. Ooh, that is so good. I have three posters right in my door, on my wall when I walk in the house. It says lead with love. And that's my goal, is to lead a life of love. But that was birthed from a terrible season of my life. I was extremely miserable. I wanted to die. I had that same moment, God, take me out. I don't want to kill myself, and I'm not going to kill myself, but I need you to take me
But
out.
take me. Yeah,
I'm done.
yeah,
And leading a life of love revived me, because then you see God in everything. You see God's love. You can give God's love. You feel God's love. I will be sitting there with my cup of coffee, like just experiencing love with a cup of coffee. And I'm not being dramatic. It's just you begin to love your life. And when you don't love your life is when you want to get up out of here.
yes, yes. Because you're feeling disconnected from that love. And I
Yep.
just to say, this is so much confirmation that this is aligned and divine, because that is the mantra that I use.
Really?
That's a
Look at
prayer that
God.
I pray, to lead with love. Anytime I'm in a difficult situation, whether it's with myself or, once again, being that glue. If I'm
Yep.
in a tough situation with family, with friends, or anytime there's friction, I always ask God, God, help me lead with love. Let love lead the way. Let love lead
Yes.
the way is my mantra for so many things, because that is the lighthouse. Let love lead the way. That has been my prayer in so many difficult seasons. So the fact that you just said that, I got goosebumps when you said it. That's why I was looking like this, because I was like, oh my God, we got the same mantra.
It's powerful, but it's so simple. It can be applied at any moment. You
Mhm.
don't got to buy no book or pay or go. You don't have to do anything. You just have to make a decision. And I guarantee you, things will start to move. I'm
Yeah.
going to lead a life of love. God, help me to lead a life of love. And you will realize that you can't lead a life of love without God. You can't even know love without God. You're going to have a man-made version of love, and it's going to lead. It's probably what's leading you into that depression is your version of love. And it was for me. It was my version of love that led me to want to get up out of here. My version of love that had me in a relationship that was breaking me down. But God's love literally like picked me up out of a pit, girl, a pit, and
Yeah.
ain't let me go since. Has not let me go.
That
It's
part.
amazing.
Yeah, so beautiful.
And that's why the last chapter is self-lovery. I love this title. It's the lovery for me. It's
Self
the
love.
lovery for me. Why self-lovery and not love? Self-love.
Because everybody says self love, and we just
Yeah.
self lovery.
I love that. It
Self lover.
sticks.
Yeah. Self
And you
love.
you said to self-love is to self-care.
Hmm.
And I know we talk a lot about self-care,
Hmm.
but and self-love as separate. But you're saying it is the same.
It's the same. It's the same. Because when you self-care, you're loving yourself.
Yeah.
Self-love. When you take care of yourself, you're loving on yourself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's so good. I had one other highlight that I wanted to. You said an important building block of self love is confidence.
Mm.
You talked, what are some ways, practical, spiritual, whatever, that, and I hate using practical and spiritual because they're not separate. It's just all, it is what it is. What are some ways that you build your confidence so that you can stay in the frequency of love?
Absolutely. Oh, that's such a good question. And that's a loaded question. And the answers are limitless. So, what
Yes.
I'm about to say, it is not the end all be all. It's just a little portion, some points, but it's
Yeah.
not the only thing. I think some ways that you can build that up, it can be something as simple as literally looking in the mirror and speaking to yourself the things that you love about yourself. It could be taking your time, when you're getting ready, like, just a little extra TLC
Yeah.
when you're
Taking your
putting oil
time.
on your body, just go
Yes.
ahead and take your time with it. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be, all right, I gotta go.
Yeah.
Like,
That's so
not too long.
good.
We could literally
Yeah.
just speak lovingly to ourselves.
Yeah.
And something that really helped me, because once I wasn't always this confident. This was built brick by brick, okay? But
I believe you.
I understand what it means to battle with insecurity. I understand what it means when you're battling with a low self-esteem and you're trying to increase your value within your own self. And it can just start with something as simple as affirmations.
Yep.
I used to have sticky notes of affirmations everywhere, and the affirmations, like, they really did help me, and I kept them up and I would speak them out loud to myself, even if it felt silly or even if I didn't necessarily believe it in the moment. But it got to a point, like, my place now, I don't have any affirmations because I believe them in my heart,
Yes.
and so it's
That's
like
the
now I,
goal.
yeah. I know it in my heart. So
Yeah.
now it's just kind of like whatever we need to do to remind ourselves that we are worthy, whatever we need to lift ourselves up, to take care of ourselves, to value ourselves, and to put tax on our value. People don't
Mm.
hesitate. If you selling a product, you know what? Yeah, but I want to make a profit off of it. So let me go ahead and add, 10%.
Yeah.
Baby, add 50% to your confidence and then some. So it's just like making sure that we are our own cheerleader, because there is so much doubt in this world and things that,
Yes.
who does she think she is? Who
Facts.
God made me to be? You know
Period.
what I mean? And so it's like, as a former people pleaser, like, I no longer shrink myself to make other people comfortable.
Yes. That
You
is
know?
so, I'm excited. The tax part,
Yeah.
because when you are a former people pleaser and you giving yourself that love, you may need to be a little bit extra with it, and that's okay. Why
Yeah.
are we so afraid to be extra? Why do we have to play it safe?
Take up space. Take up
Take,
space.
I loved, and you said that today. Don't be afraid to take up space. And
Yeah.
one way that I've learned, like, I'm more comfortable with it now, but I was sharing that with you guys, where I love to dance. I love to do heels dancing. And there was this misconception that I bought in my mind that, oh, if you're a Christian loving, Jesus loving woman, you can't be moving that body. Like, no, that is not true. That is not what the Holy Spirit is not convicting me on that. You know what I mean? Like, this is my confidence. I have to be expressive and extra. Where am I go walking down? I don't go to the club. Where am I go walking down the street like
Exactly.
dancing like that? You know what I mean? I need to express myself in a bold way because I underserved myself for so many years. So get out my business.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
And
I
that's
love
the
that.
duality. I love what you said, because it's like we don't have to be in a box. And that's
Yeah.
the duality of who we are. And that's part of being a woman. I love being a woman. I
Me
love being able to
too.
just dance. And that's how we release a lot of energy too. When we are
Yes.
dancing, especially as women, our womb, we hold on to a lot of trauma in our womb. We hold on to
Yep.
a lot of trauma in our hips. So when we dance, we release that. We
Yep.
release that because that's energetic movement. And going back
Yeah.
in the chakras, the different energy centers within
Yep.
our body. It's when we are dancing in movement and in rhythm and embodying that, we are cleansing that.
Literally.
Yeah.
I'm becoming one with my body, one with my mind. I'm not thinking. I'm free. I'm in joy. I'm in peace. I'm in the fruits of the spirit that God has called me to be in, So I love being a woman. Okay, let's close this out. I got two questions.
Yes, girl.
What do you love the most about womanhood, and what do you want women to get from this book the most?
Oh, that is a good question. I love so many things about being a woman, truly. I love being a woman. I love womanhood. One of my favorite things about womanhood, this is hard to break it down because it's so
I
vast.
know it. I know it's hard because it's so many things.
So many things. I just literally had like 5 examples come to mind, but I would say what I love the most about being a woman is our power. I love like that innate, natural power. We carry a portal between our legs.
Yep.
We literally, our womb is a portal. We create life, we give life. And even if you're not a physical, biological mother, it's still the
Yep.
fact that you have that channel within
Yep.
you. And you don't
Yep.
have to birth a child. It could literally be you birthing a creative project,
Yep.
you birthing a new reality that you're going to live for yourself. Like you
Yes.
birthing a new version of yourself. You know what I mean? Like we carry that power inherently, and I love that. And I love the way that we connect as women. Like I love being a girl's girl. Like I
Me
love when I see
too.
women encouraging each other and uplifting each other. Like our instinct, it's a powerful thing. Like there was an incident that happened. It was like a little mini incident that happened a few weeks ago. I was walking a few months ago. I was walking in my neighborhood, and there was a little boy carrying a baby, and he was crying, and it was just so amazing because myself and two other women, like us, we were all in different directions, and we all at the same time related to this baby, and we were like, are you okay? Do you need help? And it was just so amazing to see the way that we just all came together, you know what I mean? And the boy was fine. He got, connected with his parents. Everything was fine, but it was just, that image is burned in my brain because
Yeah.
here walking, and I'm like, there's a kid. There's a kid holding a baby. Is he okay? And I
Yeah.
just started walking to him, and then I see two other women from nowhere. It was like we just all ding 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 ding.
Yeah.
Hey, do you know what I mean? Like we were very concerned. So I just, or my favorite example could be when, you go to the club, the girls' bathroom at the club is my favorite.
Yes. Yes. You giving each other, ooh, I love your hair. Where you getting it?
It's like I love it. It's just so magical. Like when all of the ladies get together, and it's just like that empowering each other, that way that we can just really uplift one another and give each other support. And it's just, I love it. I love the love we give. I love the way we just naturally can uplift each other. And I would say what I would love women to take away from this book would be empowerment and encouragement.
Mm.
I would love for this to empower women to reconnect with the power that they already contain within themselves, to not shy away from the vulnerability of their experiences and their own journey, and to
Yeah.
fearlessly continue to press forward,
Yeah.
and to encourage people to know that they're not alone.
So good.
there are so many things that we go through in vulnerable seasons, and it's easy to feel alone and isolated. And I know intimately what that loneliness feels like. And that
Yeah.
was one of the things that pushed me to go out of my comfort zone and share a lot of vulnerable and private things, because I know that there are women who have experienced it too, or who it may resonate with, you know.
Hmm.
So I would love for women who read Golden Petals to take encouragement and empowerment from this, and for everyone to just continue to be the best version of themselves that they can be.
I love that. And I love in the book also that you have a section for affirmations. You have poems, your poems. So, and I always tell you this, you have a gift for affirming. Like she's the one in our sessions, in our sister circle that's like, you got this queen, you gon' you know, and she really like she really, really means it in her words. Like you just have the gift of affirming women, truly. So I love this. I'm so proud of you. I told you this already, but I'm going to tell you again. I'm so proud of you. I'm going to put a link as well online for this, but how can people follow your journey and more, follow the more that's in store?
Yes, yes. So all of my usernames on all platforms are the same. It's Golden Petals 1111. I'm on YouTube. That's where a lot of the podcast episodes are. TikTok, Instagram, Golden Petals 1111. And each of those sites have the link where you can purchase the book as well as the journal. If you want to get the journal too, that is available. And I'm pretty sure that the Heart Cleanse and Golden Petals will be collaborating
Hello?
again.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Real
Yes.
quick, link up, because I'm proud of you too, girl. Like, for real. You are amazing. And I'm just so grateful to be a part of your journey and watching you grow and blossom and do your thing. And for us to be able to go on this journey together is a gift.
It's the best. Like I I could not have done this without you guys, truly. And that's why for me redefining sisterhood is realizing like in order for me to really blossom and be the best woman that I could be, I need to be surrounded by other great women. Period. I can get along great with men. We can hang, talk on the phone all day. I'm a homie, all that, you know. But it's something different with women that I need in my journey of healing. So you
Yeah.
are helping me with that. I appreciate you. And yes, there will be so much more because this is just a crumb of the gems that we be dropping and talking about. So we have so much more topics to go through. So
Yes, yes. And wait, I'm gonna put this on my channel too. So where
yes.
can people find the Heart Cleanse?
So on Instagram, you can find the official Heart Cleanse. On TikTok, the official Heart Cleanse as well. And on YouTube, the official Heart Cleanse. So
Cool.
you can find everything there. More things are going to be coming. But for right now, we have the podcast, just different content, and just a place for all things women and in women empowerment.
Oh, that's so good. So good.
Yes. So
Beautiful.
to many more. We should see
So
y'all
many more.
very soon.
Yes. Coming soon, coming soon. When real queens link up, this is the magic that happens.
Period.